Randy Orton just made the biggest mistake of his entire career. And I need you to stop everything you are doing right now, because what happened on Smackdown this past Friday in Pittsburgh is the kind of moment that people are going to be talking about for years. Not weeks. Not months. Years. And if you were not watching, you need to sit down, because Cody Rhodes just walked back into that building, looked the Viper dead in his cold, calculating eyes and sent a message so violent, so personal, so raw that even Randy Orton himself had nowhere to run. This isn't just a wrestling story anymore. This is a blood feud. And WrestleMania 42 is going to be carnage. Segment 1: The betrayal that started it all. Let's go back. Because you cannot understand what happened on March 27th without understanding what Randy Orton did 2 weeks before it on March 13th, the night that changed everything. On the March 13th, 2026 edition of Smackdown, Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes came face to face for a contract signing ahead of their clash for the undisputed WWE Championship at WrestleMania 42. TJR Wrestling, this was supposed to be a moment of respect. Two legends. Two brothers from the Legacy days, standing across from each other in the ring, pen in hand, ready to make it official. The crowd was electric. People were ready for this WrestleMania match. And then Cody Rhodes, the reigning, defending, undisputed WWE champion, said something that nobody expected him to say. The American Nightmare told the Viper that he wanted him to listen to the voices in his head because he wanted the best version of Randy Orton at WrestleMania. Sportskeeda, he wanted a war. He wanted to prove he could beat the most dangerous version of the man he once called his brother. And Randy Orton? He smiled. And then he showed Cody Rhodes and the entire world exactly what happens when you invite the Viper to strike. Orton turned heel and obliterated Rhodes, leaving him busted open and unable to move. The fans in the arena watched Rhodes completely bloodied from the assault. TJR Wrestling. It was one of the most shocking moments in SmackDown history in years. The crowd didn't know how to react. The commentators were stunned into silence. Randy Orton, the man who had fought alongside Cody Rhodes, who stood by him, who was respected as a legend, as a mentor, had just beaten his friend half to death on live television. No warning. No explanation. Just pure, calculated, cold-blooded brutality. This wasn't a random attack. This was premeditated. This was Randy Orton choosing to become the monster the voices in his head always told him he was, and using Cody Rhodes as his first victim. Segment 2: The week Cody was gone and Orton kept hunting. Now here's what makes this even more infuriating. Cody Rhodes was gone the following week. As a result of the brutal assault, Rhodes was absent from the March 20th episode of SmackDown. TJR Wrestling, he was hurt. He was recovering. But Randy Orton? He didn't slow down. He didn't feel remorse. He didn't even flinch. Instead, he showed up on March 20th wearing that same bloodstained shirt from the night he destroyed Cody, almost like a trophy. Like he was proud of what he'd done. And he stood in that ring and told the world that for the first time in many years, he is allowing the voices in his head to guide him, leading him toward his 15th world title. The Sunday Guardian. 15 world titles. That's what this is about for Orton. That's his obsession. That's why he stabbed his brother in the back. Legacy means nothing to Randy Orton when a title is on the line. Championships mean everything to him, and Cody Rhodes just happened to be standing in the way. But it didn't stop there. Because when Matt Cardona, Cody's best friend, showed up and had the guts to defend the American Nightmare's honor, Randy Orton unleashed another vicious assault on Matt Cardona, just 1 week after savagely attacking his former friend Cody Rhodes. WWE. Orton relentlessly targeted Cardona's pre-existing injury in a variety of ways, toying with his victim. He methodically broke Cardona down until he finally landed the RKO clean and final. Cage side seats. This man was picking people off one by one. He was sending a message. He was telling the entire locker room, I am the Viper. Nobody is safe. And Cody Rhodes? I'm coming for everything you have. Segment 3: The Return. The moment. Pittsburgh explodes. March 27th, PPG Paints Arena, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. After being viciously attacked by his former friend and WrestleMania challenger Randy Orton, undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes returned to SmackDown. WWE. Now, let me paint this picture for you, because the way this went down was masterful storytelling. WWE fans had been awaiting Cody's arrival all night. Jelly Roll was there and told everyone that Cody was on his way to the building. Cage side seats, the entire arena was buzzing. Every time a camera panned to the entrance stage, the crowd held its breath. Was he here yet? Was tonight the night? Was the American Nightmare finally coming to collect? And while the crowd waited, Randy Orton was in that ring, doing what he does best. Destroying people. Using Matt Cardona's broken wrist like a weapon. Toying with him. Humiliating him. Showing zero remorse and zero mercy. The Viper was in his element. He was the king of that ring. And then Cody's bus arrived at the venue. Cage side seats. The arena lost their minds. Cody stormed the ring after a commercial break, smoothly getting past Nick Aldis and WWE security by telling them he was just there to talk. Cage side seats, just there to talk. Classic Cody. That man looked Nick Aldis dead in the face and said, "I just want to have a conversation," and every single person watching at home knew that was a lie. The smirk, the fire in his eyes, the way he was walking, that was not a man who wanted to talk. That was a man who had spent 2 weeks in the dark, replaying that brutal attack over and over in his head, and had decided that tonight, he was going to make it right the only way he knows how. It turns out he was actually there to kick Randy Orton's ass. Cage side seats, and that is exactly what happened. Cody Rhodes erupted on Randy Orton the moment he got into that ring. The crowd in Pittsburgh went absolutely nuclear. 2 weeks of pent-up rage, 2 weeks of watching Randy Orton parade around in that blood-stained shirt, smirking, bragging, hunting, all of it unleashed in one furious, explosive moment. Cody threw hands. He took the fight directly to Orton with a ferocity we honestly haven't seen from the American Nightmare in a long time. This wasn't the composed champion shaking hands and kissing babies. This was a man possessed. This was someone who had been pushed past his limit by someone he trusted, and was now operating on pure fire. Segment for the chaos, Jelly Roll, and the bigger picture. Now here's where it gets absolutely wild, because in the middle of all this chaos, Jelly Roll, yes, the country rap superstar ended up taking an RKO from Randy Orton. You read that right. In the middle of the brawl, with security trying to separate these two and the crowd going insane, Orton pivoted and hit Jelly Roll with one of the most random, most shocking, most Randy Orton-coded RKOs you will ever see in your life. And somehow, it was perfect. Because that's what makes Randy Orton so terrifying right now. He's not targeting just Cody. He's targeting everyone in Cody's orbit. He is trying to isolate the American Nightmare completely. Take away his allies. Take away his support system. Leave him completely alone heading into WrestleMania 42. Think about what Orton has done in just 2 weeks. He bloodied Cody at the contract signing. He demolished Matt Cardona twice targeting his broken wrist. And now he's hitting celebrities with RKOs on live television. This version of Randy Orton is completely unhinged, and that's exactly what makes him the most dangerous WrestleMania opponent Cody Rhodes has ever faced. The excitement for WrestleMania 42 was palpable at the PPG Paints Arena. Randy Orton had completely transformed into his Viper character, claiming the voices in his head were guiding him toward his 15th world title, the Sunday Guardian. And here is the thing that nobody is talking about enough. Despite Orton's heel turn, fans didn't boo him. Instead, they booed Cody Rhodes. Sportskeeda, veteran Dutch Mantle, pointed this out and noted that WWE is going to have real trouble with this storyline because the audience is against the babyface. Think about that. Randy Orton beat Cody half to death, showed up wearing his blood like a badge of honor, and the crowd still cheered him. That tells you everything you need to know about how over Randy Orton still is. But here's what that means for WrestleMania 42. Sources inside WWE have reportedly told insiders that the creative team is planning a major character shift for Cody Rhodes. The character shift is reportedly going to be as edgy as Randy Orton's current heel persona. Sportskeeda, could we be seeing a new, darker, more ruthless Cody Rhodes? Could the American Nightmare finally lean into the edge that fans have been begging for? Is this the moment Cody stops trying to be the hero and just becomes a force of destruction? If that's what's coming, WrestleMania 42 is going to be the most unpredictable championship match we have seen in years. Segment 5. What this all means for WrestleMania 42. Let me be crystal clear about something. Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 42 is not just a championship match. It is not just two men competing for a title. It is a deeply personal, emotionally charged, blood-soaked war between two men who used to call each other family. These two have history that goes back to legacy. They were tag partners. They were brothers in that locker room. And now, Randy Orton looked at all of that, looked at years of friendship, of trust, of shared history, and he burned it to the ground without blinking, without hesitation, without a single shred of remorse. He chose the voices in his head over the man who had his back. And Cody Rhodes? Cody walked back into that building on March 27 not as a champion playing it safe but as a man on fire. As someone who has nothing left to lose emotionally and everything to prove professionally. The Cody Rhodes who showed up in Pittsburgh was different. He was angrier. He was more aggressive. He was operating on a frequency we haven't seen from him before. And that is terrifying for Randy Orton because a measured, composed Cody Rhodes is already one of the best in the world. But a Cody Rhodes who is angry? Who is hurt? Who is personal about this? That version of Cody Rhodes might be unstoppable. WrestleMania 42 is shaping up to be an absolute war. And based on everything we saw on March 27, both of these men are fully prepared to leave everything they have inside that ring at Allegiant Stadium. Closing statement: engage the audience. So I need to ask you, what do you think happens at WrestleMania 42? Does Cody Rhodes retain the undisputed WWE Championship and prove that the voices in Randy Orton's head led him straight to a loss? Or does the Viper strike one final, fatal time and walk out of Las Vegas as a 15-time world champion? Drop your prediction right now in the comments. I am reading every single one. And if you think Randy Orton made the biggest mistake of his career by waking up this version of Cody Rhodes, smash that share button because every single wrestling fan you know needs to see what happened on Smackdown this past Friday.